Like 1 second. Oh, here we go.
Murray is in Mexico.
What?
And he was just about to send an email to say he can't join the meeting.
Okay, well, then we'll have to be quick because quorum ends at 4 o'clock. Okay, so I understand there's no members of the public present
No,
for
there are
public
not.
comments, so we'll move to item 4, public works. That would be you, Patrick.
Okay. So I guess first of all, I should provide an update on the water treatment plant situation. You've probably seen the public updates that we've posted on our website. So unfortunately, we're still having problems with the main filtration equipment of the two filter modules. Despite having been replaced with all new ceramics in January, one of the modules has at least one or more defective ceramic elements in it. And then the other, we tried to run the plant with one module, the one that was intact, and appears to have become plugged. And for whatever reason, that's not responding to the filter cleaning process, and the transmembrane pressure isn't dropping the way that it should once we do those cleans. We've had quite a bit of back and forth with Purifics. We tried our hardest to move towards an on-site solution. We're unable to do that. The situation we're in now is having to send the equipment back to Purifics for a factory reset, essentially. And so we're expecting that to be sent next week. We were told that the factory reset will be a 4 to 6 week time frame, at which point the equipment will be sent back and we can get it into service. Well, I guess May would be the best case, but possibly June. So that's unfortunately where we're at with the water treatment plant. We have been in discussions with Vancouver Coastal Health about getting the plant into operation in bypass modes. We're at least using the reservoir for improved chlorine contact time, and that would enable us to provide service to the subdivision, the Grafton Lakes development that's currently underway. So that's a process that we're going through. There was one other issue with the plant that we're going to be resolving as part of this whole process. One of the main power supply, one of the 24-volt DC power supplies, one of the two is failed and needs to be replaced. That's not as big of an issue as the one we're facing with the filters, but it's also something that needs to be addressed. So other pressing issues that need to be dealt with in the Cove Bay water system. There's a couple of issues at the dam. There's a need for better beaver fencing. We continue to have problems with beavers blocking the flow through all the flows through the dam, and causing problems. We also would like to tie in the low flow. We've been having trouble getting the low flow that was recently installed. It runs from a buoy further out into the lake, and it's intended to provide gravity low flow, so we don't have to run the pump the whole time. We would like to tie that into the dry hydrant, and which is currently not functional because of beaver blockage. So those are a couple of issues that we want to address at the dam. We need to fix the PRV at the four corners. It's leaking and the valves don't function properly. So that's something that needs to be fixed. There's a lot of water main replacement needs. We're really focused on spending the capital to get the treatment plant up and running this year and developing a more comprehensive asset management plan and capital replacement plan for the system. And we're hoping that the development of our 5-year capital plan next year will be a lot more comprehensive in terms of which capital replacement needs are going to be addressed in which year. We know we have sections of that asbestos cement pipe that needs to be replaced. We were planning on the first section being past the Killarney Lake or the Killarney Creek bridge up to Lenora. There's also a PRV there that's in need of replacement. That's something we've put in the plan for next year, I believe. And there's other sections of water main that are in need of replacement. One of the more pressing ones is on Channel View and Cliff Road. There's a section of 2-inch water main that's galvanized and is really in poor shape and causing problems. So that's something that we would need to address in the near future. And so that's mostly what we've got on our radar screen for the Cove Bay water system. If there's questions or comments, now would be a good time.
Can I ask a quick question? It's Tanya. Hi. Just wondering, like with this factory reset, like, do you anticipate this fixing the problem, or what are you thinking, Patrick?
We do. It's our best bet. And we do anticipate it fixing the problem. Yes.
And is it Purifix that has been all kind of the problem, the source of the problem with a lot of this?
Yes, I mean, we've had issues with defects in the equipment that they've provided. They are pointing to, it does get a little fuzzy, and because they point to design issues with the overall plant and operational issues as being a source of the problem. So, for example, now we've got this one module that appears to be plugged, and they're saying, well, you operated it with too high solids in the system, in the concentrate loop, which is on the so
I
that's
guess when they're saying that, like, I guess where's the oversight that they're providing, or the accountability that they can provide to ensure that that doesn't happen? You know what I mean? So that there's not this back and forth and going on, and that they can assume some responsibility. Like,
yeah, well, I mean,
like they're not drinking the water, so they're not worried about bladder cancer in the long run. But I think others on the island are. So, and if they're immunocompromised, then there's other problems at risk as well for people. So I guess, like, are they waking up at night? Are they worrying about this? No, I guess, like, are we going to have any movement 4 years from now with this company going back and forth?
Yeah, our track record with them hasn't been great, of course. We're doing our best. We're kind of stuck with them. I mean, that's the problem. The decision was made, many years ago to go with this technology, and we're doing our best to work with the technology provider to get the system running. They do have responsibility. They have taken some level of accountability. They did provide replacement ceramics in January. They are doing this factory reset. They have an interest in having the equipment that they provide. They have a number of installations in the US. They don't have a lot in Canada. They have an interest in having, the projects that they do install and have their equipment running at be successful. It's not good for them to have situations like this. So no, they're not drinking the water, but they do have
Yeah,
a
they do.
vested
They have the
interest in.
reputation. Yeah.
But Patrick, can I frame it this way? This is what we're discussing here, as we know, is on the internet. It's accessible to all, and obviously your comments have to be somewhat limited, but you can assure us that the municipality is taking all appropriate action, legal, otherwise, to remedy this problem as swiftly as possible, even if you can't tell us all about it in a public forum. Is that a fair way to describe what the situation is?
That's fair. It's
Okay.
a top priority, and we're looking at every avenue that
Yes,
Yeah.
okay.
including plan Bs. So what happens? What do we do if this equipment comes back and it's not, for whatever reason, still doesn't work?
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's helpful to know, just to know that, is there kind of an end in sight or some turning point, that or yeah. Where's the threshold for the municipality or with Vancouver Coastal Health and so on, I know it's a frustration for everyone, right? But how
Yeah.
can we look at resolution or other alternatives down the road if it doesn't work out?
Right.
Well, it sounds like that is in the works at one level or another, and I appreciate you can't fully disclose all your options to us. And, but the fact that you're looking at other options and scenarios, that's helpful to know. Okay. So any other questions for Patrick?
Patrick, do you want to mention Vancouver Coastal Health comments, which is item 6.1?
Sure. So
Just
I mean, they've got frustration from their perspective as well, due to the delays in getting this treatment plant running, and so they've indicated, they came out and spoke to council recently. Some of you may have seen that. They've indicated their intention to take some actions, and that really takes three forms. One would be increased notifications. So there's already notifications to residents about, the risks of the current water and the particularly immunocompromised people. They may want us to do some, and we're going to be having further discussions with them next week, but they may want us to do some further notifications to visitors through the businesses on the island and Airbnb hosts and the like. Increased monitoring. They have some requirements there. And then they've also expressed some frustration about the continued expansion of the water system, which incrementally increases, overall risk. And they may be having some say in how that continues or doesn't continue. So there may be an impact on people that want to join the water system imminently, or building permits that we may want to issue, but we don't have yet the confirmed source of potable water for them. So that's really what Vancouver's Coastal Health's comments around the situation boiled down to.
Did they specifically have concerns with the Eagle Cliff connection project?
They didn't address that specifically, but I mean, it was implied in the, I think, and we've also included in our notice of intent for the Eagle Cliff connection project that the project won't proceed beyond design phase until the water treatment plant is fully operational.
Okay.
So there wouldn't be any construction of any kind of works to connect the systems until that time. So
Okay.
that's understood by all.
Okay. I understand they have the same issues we have largely, right? The same chloro-organic matters, or is that oversimplification?
Yeah, there's similar issues. They do have UV as well as chlorination, which is one added barrier that they have, but similar issues, yes.
Okay. Any other questions for Patrick?
Allison, I've got one, Ron.
Sure.
I was just curious, you talked about the intake line, Patrick. Is that little white thing that we see floating out in the lake also where the intake is for the treatment plant?
No.
Okay.
No, the intake for the treatment plant is up past the swimming rock. You know,
Okay.
It's at the I guess the northeast corner of the lake.
Okay. And then I guess with respect to the beavers, and I know this isn't necessarily politically correct, what about trapping them and removing them from the lake?
Yeah, that's an approach that some jurisdictions have taken. I think it's they tend to come back. You can take a beaver out of there and another one will pop up, or maybe the same one. So I don't know if that's the best approach.
Okay. Anything further, Patrick? Okay.
No.
Okay. Thank you, Patrick. Finance. This is Kristen's ball game here. What do
Okay,
you got
thanks,
to say?
Ron. Well, we're making good time here, so I don't wanna encroach on that. But I think I'm pleased to say that our budget came in fairly close to what we had anticipated. Our actual results last year, they're unaudited at this point. We've got our auditor starting next week, but I believe these are the final figures. A couple of areas that we overexpended were in the supplies and services line item, as well as the repairs and maintenance. So there were a couple of extraordinary one-offs that contributed to that. For the supply side, there was a very significant sized tree that was taken out that was at risk of falling on the water line. That was about a $20,000 tree to remove that there. So that's hopefully a one-off that's not recurring. And also, Patrick, you had tank cleaning done last year, which came in at about $35,000. So that was that's not done every year either, but that was done last year. So that's what kind of pushed the repairs and maintenance budget over. But overall, we came in very in line with budget. So I'm pleased with the methodology that we've used there. For next year, you will be seeing additional testing. This is another Vancouver Coastal Health requirement with regards to additional THM and HAA testing for the system next year. They're requiring that across all of our systems. So Patrick did discuss already the planned capital expenditures in the budget. So I'm not gonna reiterate those. They're listed in the report that I prepared as well. But I'd like to just take a few minutes to talk about the impact of the utility rates and the change that we made last year. If you recall we brought the threshold down from 136 cubic meters down to 92 before the metered rate kicked in. And I think that was a very effective strategy. What ended up happening there was that we really, doing some analysis on the revenue and where the revenue came from in the system this year. It's evident that by bringing that threshold down, we did increase the proportion of flat rate versus variable rate revenue from a 90-10 flat rate variable rate down to an 80-20, which is much more in line with other systems. I think there's potentially some more work to do there, but I think that for now that's people don't like change too much all at once. And there was some feedback that I received from members of the public, mostly around a lack of communication. So definitely I took that message to heart. I am recommending that the rates be increased by 5% this year to the flat rate and to the variable rate. So from 280 flat rate to a 294 flat rate, and variable rate increase from 167 to 175 per cubic meter. And definitely I will make a better effort to communicate that change out to the public before the next bill is sent out, making sure that people have adequate opportunity to change their consumption habits if that's what they deem necessary in order to manage that change. I want to make sure that they have that opportunity. So I think that's all I have for the committee from the budget side of things. I did include in the package some material about where we're at with the repayment of the internal loan from the Cove Bay system to the general fund to repay the use of land opportunity reserve funds. It is a 10-year loan, so 2024 will be the 4th year of repayment. So we're almost halfway through that, which is great, because once that payment is done, that frees up that budget room. We'll be able to increase additional payments to reserves going forward from there. Lastly, I'll just take a moment to update the committee on the next steps from an administrative perspective with the Cove Bay Eagle Cliff interconnection. Of course, this all hinges on getting the water treatment plant online and operating. And in the meantime, I'll do some work to update that equilibrium calculation that I discussed at the last LAC meeting. We update those numbers for current net book value assets between the two systems. And then we need to draft a merger bylaw to contemplate merging the two systems, and then undertake a public communication process. We do require assent of the electors in both of the local area services in order to adopt that merger bylaw. So again, that will take a big public communication and consultation notification process to make sure that everybody understands what the plan is. And then we can proceed with that. So I don't want to undertake any of the work on that process really until we address the issue of the water treatment plant. So I'm kind of putting that on hold for the time being, and we'll wait and see when we get that going. So probably in the summer we can start, we'll have another meeting and then discuss the next steps in that process.
Okay, so the on that issue, that the earliest we'd probably look at actually physically interconnecting this would be 2025. Is that kind of what the thinking is, assuming the treatment plant resolves itself in the summer months? Is that the plan?
Assuming we can get the treatment plant online by June, that it would take probably until June before the whole loan authorization process gets completed, and we actually have the Eagle Cliff portion of the funds for the project. So that would mean July probably would be the most realistic start date for construction, and it will probably take until early 2025 to get that work completed.
Okay.
So we'd be probably looking at spring, like spring 2025 as being
Online.
a time frame to have an actual physical connection in place.
And then I don't know what you call the electoral process takes place presumably in the fall, that timetable?
Well, you'd want to have
I-
that completed before the
Yeah.
physical connection, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometime in there.
So the electoral process for the borrowing to pay for it has happened,
Yep.
Well, it's happened, but it still has to go through.
but it has
a
to go
number of
through
other
a whole
steps.
bunch of other approval steps from the inspector of municipalities, but there's this, so the other step of the merger bylaw,
Mhm.
how long a process is that, Kristen?
Sophie, and that'll probably all in about 3 months. Like it's the same process. It's a petition against, is that correct?
That's right. Yeah.
So that would take from, if the plant gets up and running and working by June, then that would be July, August, September. And you wouldn't want to go for tenders until you know that everybody's agreed to it.
Well, the connection would happen regardless. The next step
Oh,
is the
okay.
integration of the 2 local service areas. But the connection would happen regardless.
So we would carry on the basis like we've been doing with Blue Water and
Yeah,
King Edward
that's right.
Bay, if they didn't, okay. Got it.
That's right.
Thank you.
But the reason for the integration, of course, is to make sure that the new joiners can share in the parcel tax repayment. So that's
Yeah.
the impetus for that.
Okay, thank you for that. I think we should spend a little bit of time on the rate recommendation, because this is the one thing I think on our agenda we actually do today is actually item 5C. I'm just probably take advantage of being the chair to ask my question. Before we had last year, somebody on the committee, namely me, suggested a 10-cent additional charge for the consumption in the first 92 cubic meters per billing period. And I was just wondering, is your proposition here to just delete that, or is that
No.
also going to get a 5% increase, or what are we thinking?
I was just gonna leave it at what it is. It turns out to really just effectively be an increase to the flat rate component, effectively is kind of what it works out to be. I really like the reasoning that you gave to put it on, which is, to build that awareness that every cubic meter is a resource that needs to be conserved. And I will comment that I have had several conversations with people over the course of the year as they kind of made that connection and gave me a call, and I would reiterate what the reasoning was behind it. And I really do think that it's been helpful to create that kind of shift. So I think it doesn't create a whole lot of revenue. It's something that we can look at increasing in future, but for the time being, I still think it's really valuable as an awareness educational piece.
Okay. At the time, we kind of just grabbed 10 cents out of the air, is my recollection. And
Yeah.
but when we started to do some math on the back of the envelope during the meeting, which is not the ideal time to do it, of course, but I got the sense it was probably more like 25 cents or whatever per cubic meter for variable cost when the plant is running. So I'm going to send a mixed message here. I think if the plant's not running, I think it should be 0, because it was really meant to compensate for the incremental costs of the electricity, the chemicals, all the disposal of the sludge and whatnot, and all the variable costs associated with the plant. So I really have trouble charging it when the plant's not running. But in the reciprocal, I really have problems if 10 cents is too small a number. So that's a mixed message. And I just sort of thought I'd throw that out. And did anyone else have any comments on those issues?
Yeah, I think you're right. It was more like closer to 30 cents, our estimate of the volume-based cost running the treatment plant. And we just picked 10 because it was a stepping stone more than anything, I think. There are also variable costs with the current arrangement. There is power costs with the pumping stations. There is chlorine costs. I don't know what those costs are. It may be close to 10 cents. So I think that it is reasonable to charge a variable rate even in the current situation, but that once the treatment plant's running, it should probably be increased significantly.
Okay.
I'd like to make a comment. I think we ought to have a plan to get the rates to 30 cents, if that's what the variable cost is. So that people know it's coming, for one, and that we're prepared for when we're incurring those costs, rather than a couple of years down the road going, oh, we haven't charged enough and now we've got to make up for it.
Yeah.
Any thoughts?
Yeah, Tanya, do you have something you'd like to say?
No. Nothing from here.
Well, I quite agree with your comment, because I think rates should be cost-based in some fashion. I mean, obviously we don't want to over-collect revenue, we don't want to under-collect revenue, and we'd like to assign, to the extent that we can, assign cost to something, an occurrence of cost. I mean, Allison, you're the accountant. I mean, you're probably all over this, but I would be happy with leaving the 10 cents in based on your explanation, Patrick, because I always wondered what that number was too, but it was the status quo. But I really would like to see us move that. And it's not a big, as Kristen said, it's not a big lever. Like if we tripled it, it wouldn't be the biggest increase, but I would suggest that as part of our recommendation, maybe it doesn't have to be part of a recommendation, I don't know, that needs to be that formal, but that when rates are set for 2025, when we all hope the treatment plant's all 100% hunky-dory, and hopefully have some operating history, so you actually know what these variable costs are with a greater degree of certainty, that next year's budget comes back with a plan to get that number closer to what it should be, whether it's 25, 30, 35. But we keep the 10 for now, based on what I'm hearing. Does that fly with the other members of the committee?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that something reasonable, Kristen, for you to work with? Is that
Yeah, I can certainly take that advice and consider it next year when coming back with a rate recommendation for sure.
Yeah. The only thing about this recommendation as it's written is because it's silent on the no change on the 10 cents for the first 92 cubic meters. I think this has to be slightly tweaked. Either that or you have to increase it by 5% as well. But I mean, if I would suggest you just increase it by 5% and we keep the wording. So it's 0.105 cents.
Yeah, but you can't charge half a cent, so it would have to go to 11 cents.
No, we can. We
Oh,
can
you
go
can.
to 4 decimals in our system.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It just sees silly to freeze one number and keep
Okay.
the other two going up 5%. So why don't we just keep that in mind, and it'll probably raise another, $1,000, might have to go part way to paying for the coastal house stuff. So
And do an additional review for next year based
Yeah,
on
yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
With
Do you want a
with the
separate
specific
resolution for that?
I don't know. Do we need one? I'm not familiar with.
Well, I was thinking of just for the phasing in for next year, that rather than changing all the numbers for this year, just have a separate resolution that says that when in doing the 2025 5-year financial plan, plan for increasing the 10 cent rate
to
over-
be
to be more reflective of the actual costs.
of the variable cost. Yes.
Yeah,
That I think that's a second resolution. I think that's good.
yeah,
Okay.
And I think that that gives everyone time, and it gives to operating history time. And I think like last year was a bit of we just threw that in at the last minute. I think this gives a little more time to it because we haven't had the plant running. We just don't have the the imperative to do it. But I think we will, and I think it's very explainable. I hope, Kristen, when your phone rings, you can say, this is what it's all about. So if you use less water, you pay less money. It's got a fairness element to it. So,
and you could accommodate your 5% for the current year by just saying, and a 5% increase to all user rates.
Yep.
Just as this recommendation in the minutes, or the minutes of the
So
agenda is
sorry.
drafted, I think it's drafted fine.
So can I make a suggestion for the second recommendation then?
Yes?
Yeah,
So the first recommendation, as it's written with the addition of all user rates,
Mhm.
and a second resolution recommendation that says, and that council directs staff to review user rates for 2025 to take additional operating costs of water treatment plant into account.
Yeah, the variable costs,
Additional variable costs.
additional variable costs.
Okay.
That's really what I'm trying to carve out is,
yeah.
Okay,
So it's all one resolution with 2 clauses.
yeah, 2 standalone ones.
okay,
Oh,
that
okay.
sounds, okay. So do we have a mover?
Yeah, I'll move that.
Okay. I'm happy to second that. And Tanya, you in favor? Or
Yeah,
thumbs up?
I'm in favor. Thumbs up.
Okay. Looks like it's unanimous. Okay, so
Thank you.
is there anything else you need to add, Kristen, that comes out of your report?
No, that is all from me. Thank you.
Thank you. Allison, you covered off
We
stuff before. Do
covered
you want
off
to add
that
to the,
coastal health, and the meeting was videoed, and the presentation slides, the link to both are in there, so have a look. And Hood Point was the only one that got the check marks in all 5 boxes, so everybody else had question marks.
okay,
And the
Okay.
GARP stuff that's in there, you don't have wells, so it's not applicable.
okay. Any other business? The only item I can think of, and I'm bringing this up on your behalf, Tanya, is after our last meeting, a bunch of Steph gave us a bunch of reports on previous water testing and quality issues. And I'm just wondering if you had a chance to review them, if you had any questions or matters you wanted to raise coming out of that.
I haven't yet had a chance to review them, but it's on my action list at some point. So I will do that. It's just,
Okay.
yeah, it's just
Oh,
been a little
understood.
chaotic with transitioning jobs to
Just-
a position.
Just wanted to give you a platform if you wanted to say something.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. I'll come back to it.
Okay, excellent.
Where are those reports?
I'm a bit of a technology nerd, but she's put them up on something Steph did during the meeting, and then I don't know what happened. I don't know.
I think
on the
I
website.
think I was hoping to, I was gonna probably email her and try to find them, because I don't know, I don't think she sent us an email, but where to find, I think she just showed us quickly where to get them or something, wasn't it, if I
Yeah.
recall?
That
As I
sounds
looked
right.
around, I couldn't find anything.
Yeah,
It'd be nice to see them.
There is,
Yeah.
there's 2 websites. I mean, there's the Cove Bay Committee website, and then there's also another link, which is more to all the water resource materials. So I'm wondering if that's, or was it the drinking water report? What?
The most, if Murray was here, he could tell us. I think there was a major one done, I want to say 2014. It may have been 2008, I don't know, but there was a major one done at some point in the lead up to the creation of the water treatment plant. Maybe Patrick, maybe you know, but there was some in fairly serious study done at one point, and I just can't. That'd be useful to know if it's on the website or have the link to it or whatever. Just
Yeah, I was just looking in the minutes to see if Steph had put anything in there, but I can't see anything.
no. Likewise. Anyway,
And just looking at the minutes of the last meeting, there's still no decisions been made on the Grafton Lake parking. It hasn't come back to council.
okay. Yeah, and there's no link. I don't see any links on that section
Yeah.
to any water treatment. But anyway, maybe I think it'd be helpful, maybe just a separate email. It doesn't, whatever, or maybe just point us to the right direction of where we find this, and that would be helpful. Steph knew what, she put her hands on it right away. She knows where they are. So that would be helpful for our next meeting. Okay, information items. I see there's Bowen Island Municipality Council strategic plan. Is that just for us to read at our leisure?
It's just for information, and if you've read it and have any questions, I could try to answer them.
Okay. Apologize, I haven't reviewed it.
Well, that's all right.
Okay, there being no questions. And then, oh, I see we've already talked about the Eagle Cliff Connection project. I think we covered that off in detail, unless there's any more questions on that. And now, has anyone from the public joined us, or are we still on an island?
No, there are no members of the public currently in the Zoom meeting. I can see that 2 are watching on YouTube, but
okay, so we have no questions from the public.
No.
Okay, and I'm asking maybe Patrick and or Kristen, when's the next time we need to meet as a group?
I think once the water treatment plant is up and running, we'll definitely need to meet in the summer to discuss the consolidation bylaw and take those formulas into account. So we'll definitely have to meet either late in the summer or in the fall.
Okay. So we should record that in the minutes so we all remember. Okay.
And it would probably be great to have a commissioning update from our new water treatment plant by that time.
Yeah, maybe we can meet in person and I'll have a nice cold glass of water that we feel comfortable drinking too.
Yeah.
Are you going to have, is there going to be any community open house once we get the thing up and running?
I'm not sure. That's a good question.
We've all been waiting eagerly for it.
At least
There
a
might be some people
council
who'd
and
like to see
committee
it.
tour. We have to have
Yeah.
that.
At
Yeah.
least that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that would be wonderful. Any other questions about anything? Have I missed anything? I'm not very good at this, so just let me know.
No, I think you've covered it all.
Yeah,
I've
you
just
did a
sent a
great
link
job.
around, Ron, to see if that might be, it has a list of all sorts of reference materials, so it may have what you're looking for.
Okay. Okay, well, in any event, we'll get back to you if we can't find it. We'll I guess Patrick, you're the source of old reports. So if we can't you need to contact.
Yeah, I mean,
Be able to find them for us.
yeah, we'll find what you need.
Okay,
And,
awesome.
make sure you have access to it.
Anyway, thank you all. It's been challenging times with that water treatment plant and now adding the system to another system, but we appreciate all your hard work.
Thank you.
And we'll be in touch, I'm sure.
Thanks.
Okay.
Good
We
day.
did it.
Oh, I guess I have to motion to adjourn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second.
Second. Very good.